Hi, thanks for watching. I've got a road trip planned for the near future. Well, weather dictates when I go. And I'll be taking a trip up to the Highlands to look for some unusual Drystone walls. Like this one, you see, right here. Now, they say this is a famine wall. Let me give you an introduction to Famine Walls. This is a video I made a few years ago. How do you create an urban legend? You use people like tour guides to pass on false information. Right, what you're looking at here, I'm going to read a passage for a story some guy wrote. And this is what he's describing. This is what he says he's looking at, right, in this passage. And what you are looking at here is Drystone walls. And they will extend right down to the bottom of the valley, I presume. More than likely go on the other side as well. But I don't see a wall to mark off what would be arable land. It just goes straight up to the rocky crest of the hill and continues. So I don't understand why that's there. And there are various designs and styles of Drystone wall, but they all have one thing in common, and that is that they all have a foundation stone the length of the wall. Now, some foundation stones are maybe half a ton, but invariably they're flat stones. Right, and for each yard you're talking about a ton in weight. And what you're looking at here, I would imagine, would be like end to end, a lot, maybe a mile. So what you're looking at then is 1,760 tons of stones of various sizes, all sitting on top of a foundation that's been laid. Right, so that's what you're looking at. A lie told once remains a lie, but a lie told 1,000 times becomes the truth. Joseph Goebbels, Adolf Hitler's propaganda minister. And that would kind of fit with maybe a corrupt education system, or giving the tour guide the wrong information to pass to tourists like Tom Morgan. Right, I'll read you something what Tom Morgan says about his journey here. And I'll put a link, you can read the rest yourself. I was standing at the base of a rocky green mountain in the austere blustery region of Ireland known as Connemara. My eyes traced the low rock walls that started from the base of the mountain and wound their way to the top. They were straight walls about the height of a man and maybe 2 feet thick, made of countless stones and with no earthly reason for being there. There was a wall every 100 yards or so, each tracing a route to the top of the mountain. I was listening to the tour guide explain how these walls came into being, and I found myself getting angry. These were famine walls, and they were built during the famine of the 1840s. A lot went on then, right? As a means to keep the hungry masses out of the estates of the landowners. We learned it was usually homeless Catholics who built the walls for a few scraps to eat. According to our guide, massive, largely pointless work projects like the famine walls and the famine roads kept the masses barely alive during the 4 years the potato crop failed. the British rule had proclaimed that the poor had to work for sustenance and not be given charity, and that stoked my growing anger. He goes on, and he's no American boy, and he loves St. Patrick's Day and stuff. But it's what I'm getting at here is, this is total nonsense, right? For example, these are the people they're describing. This is who they're saying built these walls. Really? I mean, come on. Let's look at some of the stuff they built, because here, these are famine walls. That's what they call these. They're called famine walls. So, in an effort to explain the amount of walls that's all over Ireland, and if anybody that's watching, if you've not seen the video about the islands I've done in Ireland, you should check it out. Unbelievable. So they're using a fabricated story to explain away something that's, well, unexplainable. Right. What they're saying here, it's like feudalism, land ownership that kept the villagers off the countryside, or out the countryside more or less. And they say that the walls enclosed small farms and date from the late medieval period to the late 16th century. So they gave themselves a window of 500-600 years. Let me check this out. Oh, that's a weird looking picture. Right, so it's actually called, insultingly, a sheep or cripple hole near Ashgreg, way before political correctness. So this is the sheep's hole, right? So could that be carved out in that? Could that be done later? I'm thinking it could. Prop up these two. Remove it. Easy. Job done. But what's this here? It's encased in stone. And you get wised up to check this out. Cause this looks like, I don't know, like that broken bit would fit up here. So this bit here is like probably a bit of hardboard or something. Just carving out a hole. So what is all this? I don't know. Just thought I'd have a look anyway. Right, so who built them? Right. So the first stone walls were constructed by farmers and primitive people by piling loose field stones into a dry stone wall. Right, so let's check out primitive people first. Right, primitive culture. In the lexicon of early anthropologists, any of the numerous societies characterized by features that may include lack of a written language, relative isolation, small population, relatively simple social institutions and technology, and a generally slow rate of socio-cultural change. Right, no a good write-up. So what do they look like then? And there's the primitive cultures right here. Right. Okay, so that's who built the walls then. Right. Okay. Well, now we know who built them. Right. How did they do it? I mean, that's a lot of work. Hey, unless it's like that story earlier, 2 guys built that maze. But in reality, there were loads of volunteers. So, this primitive culture, while they were piling up stones, they were also digging a trench at least 4 inches deep to lay flat foundation stones for the entire length of the wall. Right, so, and there's your foundation, and then they tilted both walls inward, and they're full of panting stones, and this is a tie stone to tie the front of both walls together, and they're all topped off with a capstone. And you do that with piling stones in the middle of a field. Oh, and they're all the same height. Not bad for primitive people. And they built them everywhere. Lots and lots of them. Tibetan monks used the power of sound to levitate huge stones. Scientists have demonstrated that sound vibration can levitate small objects. However, experiments on heavier objects have been met with limited success. In 1939, a Swedish doctor named Jarl was brought to a Tibetan monastery to treat a High Lama. He stayed for a long time and formed an intimate friendship with the Tibetans. One day the monks took him to a tall cliff where they were constructing a rock wall. About 250 metres from the edge of the cliff there lay a large stone. 19 musical instruments were set in an arc precisely 63 metres from the stone. 13 drums of different sizes accompanied 6 trumpets, each of which were 3 metres in length. The monks began playing the small drums, then the rest of the instruments chimed in. All the monks were chanting a prayer, and after 4 minutes the stone began to sway. Suddenly it took off in the direction of the cliff, and after 3 minutes of ascent, landed on the top. The monks were able to move 5 or 6 stones an hour using this method. Dr. Jarl had heard legends of this practice, but was stunned to see it with his own eyes. He made 2 films of the incident, however, they were confiscated by his employer immediately upon his return. You're a shocker. The specific nature of the instruments combined with the precise angles and distances involved suggests that the monks had advanced knowledge of vibrational physics still unknown to us today. Right, to save the chance of any more copyright strikes, I'll just talk you through this. So what this guy's about today, this down the bottom here, this is the speaker, and this is a sheet of plexiglass. Right, and what you'll see him doing is using the sound and the vibration to levitate these small balls. He knows exactly where to put them. It's pretty cool. Right, and that's them levitating the ultrasonic sound waves. Right. So, how he does it, right, so, this is the speaker, and this is the receptor, and what he's trying to catch are what's called standing waves, right? Now, you'll see them quite clearly. Now this also demonstrates, when I was watching this earlier, about other realities, other dimensions. We can't see it from this angle, but we can see it from that angle. Right? and here you have the wavelengths. Now this is what's called a standing wave, and it only happens when in multiples of halves in the wavelength, and it's bouncing the wavelength against itself, and it all happens because of the height of this. If you adjust this, it'll disappear. Then he brings it back into play, it'll work again. Right, so because he can see this, we couldn't see it from here, right? We can see nothing, but from his perspective he can see exactly where to put the balls. Excellent. Right, so this is levitation. And we don't know nothing, remember. We don't know what the ancients knew, that's for sure. Right, so I'll put links to these clips and stuff in the description. Right, where are we going next? Well, thanks for watching. Please comment.